boss. So this is nothing but the master section they are given. So we'll add this into the input. Okay, so we can name this as input. Add work as a geometrical set. So if we have the point, that is good, but if we don't have the point, I can find out the point for this particular. So first of all, we need to identify which section is this. Okay, so this section is look like boss with respect to rib, and that is we can something identify. It will be the heat stacking boss. Okay, so for that we need to find the point. So point we can create with the between, something like this. We need to select this. We can select, go for the mid, and find something like this. Again, you can just isolate. You can double click with respect to coordinate. We'll have that point. Okay, so this is something like the point we have, which is a parametric. There is no parents and children available. Now according to that, we need to find the plane. So here you can find the plane we can add. Also, if you want, you can just go for the axis also. So here you can just check for the insert. You can add the axis system. You need to select the origin of this particular point. Again, here we have the Z as a axis. So you can select the Z and give the axis for the Z. Okay, so we already have something like this we can do. Now to the axis we can select, and with respect to that, we'll do the all the stuff. So what we can do now, we need to add a sketch. So sketch we can add on this particular axis, X, Y plane. We'll select that. The origin of this is nothing but point. We can select, with respect to that, the sketch will be added. So for that, we need to have the circle. So again, for circle, we need to check the dimension, what outer dimension will be. So I can select the outer dimension, what are it showing? It's something like 5.9, and that will be at top. Okay. But ideally, that is a 6 we have at the bottom. So you can check like 6 mm, we need to draw the circle.
Sir, I didn't get this point, sir. Why it is because of draft angle, the distance is getting changed?
Yes.
Okay, sir. Okay. If wherever we are getting like round point values, we have to round off it.
No, no round off. So this is something like the draft we have in this particular point. Okay, they are given the draft. Okay, so I'm just showing in the larger scale, so better you can understand. So some draft has to be there. So here we have the 0.5. Okay, so when the 0.5 draft is given, so definitely the faces will be go inside. Okay, similarly, it's going inside. Yeah, so this
Okay,
face
sir.
is going to be inside. So this face going to be inside. So in that
Okay.
case, what we have the exact dimension. Okay, so we'll get the exact dimension at base root, because
Okay.
with respect to this only we're going to be have BIW. Something
Sir.
like there will be a BIW. And again, for that, we need to have this point. Okay, so whenever you're going to be create the boss or the locator, we need to select the bottom of that particular BIW. Okay, so point
Okay,
we
sir.
need to select is something at the bottom of that BIW. So here you can find. So this is the surrounding part surface. To that, we need to select the bottom. Why? Because whatever the draft we are starting draft from the bottom to the upper side. If we are going for the draft, something like this case,
Okay.
okay, suppose we want to give the draft to this particular faces. Okay, so there will be this condition will be there always. This condition will be there always. How you can decide whether which face you want to give the draft. Okay, so you can imagine this is something like you have the boss, and now you need to create this particular center point. So if you just check, you can select the center point, and with respect to that, you have drawn this sketch. So in which direction you will give the draft? Definitely with respect to the tooling, you need to give the draft. Okay, so draft will be something like arrow will be something like this. So again, whatever the face you can draw from this sketch will be go something like this. It will be go something like this. Even you can check when we do the locator as well. So this face will be get increase upside. Okay, so this will be the draft face we have. Again, if you just check with the normal line, tooling line, what we have. So with respect to the tooling line, it will be something like vertical we have. It will be something like vertical we have. So again, with vertical, we have some chamfer or the draft. Okay, so this is nothing but the angle we have. So if the BRW is there, so which will be the accurate dimension we can get. So accurate dimension will be get with respect to surrounding part at root or the base. Okay, so whatever the feature we create, so at the base we're going to be get this particular dimension. And for that reason, whenever you're going to be select the point, for this particular BIW bottom point or the surrounding part bottom point. Okay, so bottom is something like the bottom surface point. Here you can check, this is nothing but the surface we have. So on that surface you can select the bottom point. With respect to that, we can add the sketch, and again we can go for the draft. Okay, so here you can find whatever the draft we added, so that is with respect to this neutral face. Okay, so that we're going to be check, we can create the boss at that time when we are doing the part we're going to be do. So at that time you can imagine like how it's going to be work. Okay, so it is always need to take care in what will be the sketch we are going to be selecting. Okay, so this is a major thing, having an issue like when you're going to be do
That
draft,
BIW
the draft.
surface will be given, right, sir? BIW surface will be
Yeah, so
given
BIW
in
position
schedule.
will be given or even
Okay.
not in given. So if we need to suggest that particular face. Okay, so suppose this
Okay.
is we going to be other face. So with respect to our design guidelines, normal design guidelines, we're going to be select this particular face. Okay, so this height we can just check for that. So 5 to 7 mm we're going to be consider this height, that is sufficient. Minimum 3 also we can create somewhere like here. So with respect to that we can add, because whatever the maximum height we have the limitations. Okay, so with respect to this design guideline, so maximum height also we're going to be have the limitations. So with respect to that we can consider how much will be the high we have the BIW. And in design rule itself we have checked if this is the BIW. Okay, and whatever we are creating, this is not able to reach this particular point. So definitely in that case, again we need to go for the doggos to add. Okay, so this is something like we need to add the doggos, and on the doggos we need to go for adding boss. Okay, so this is something like the condition if you don't have the BIW to come down. So whatever the height we have optimized, so that we need to just check, make sure if we are just adding something like this for. Okay, and if that is not possible, we need to add again doggos. Okay, so this is the case when there will be BIW is given. So we need to try to match that. Even that we can check if BIW is possible to come down. Okay, so this is we need to check for the proposal, like BIW is able to come down. If not, we need to add the doggos. So this is option 2 we need to have, and always we can propose them a point where exactly we need to have. So this point we can propose. So definitely another part, if this is heat stacking, so this will be the another part slot or the level, surface level will be. Okay, so this level will be driven whatever will be available possibility to get down this particular surface. It might be the tooling issue or it might be the interfaces with respect to another part. So that driven this particular surface level. Okay, so maximum to minimum we can check. This to this we need to have somewhere close to 3, 5 or 7. Okay, so 3, 5 or 7. Minimum 3 we can keep like a rib height. With respect to that, again minimum we can go for like to remove another things is something like 2 mm is also sufficient, 1 mm is also sufficient, but that will not add the value, because again the part to part clearance also is important. So with respect to that we need to have 3, 5 or not more than 7 we can go for here to add the rib, and because the strength also going to be get reduced as we are going on increasing the height of the rib. So for that reason, always make sure whenever we're going to be at the point, so point should be at the bottom. Again, the height of that particular surface will be 3 to 5, not more than 7. Worst condition, we can go for that. Again, whatever the draft we are giving something like this. So with respect to that, we need to consider bottom point. Okay, so this is a takeaway we can check from this particular point. Okay, so now what we need to do, we need to just go for adding a sketch with respect to the 6. For that reason, we have checked the dimension over here. So dimension from the master section, we're going to be always check at the bottom because of the reasons we have seen. Okay, why we are going to be have this. Okay, if that is a locator, so at a locator we're going to be checked in another master section that we can study today itself. So here you can find whatever we have selected the sketch, that selected the sketch with respect to the bottom point of that particular BIW. So you can find once we selected that dimension, you can just come out from that. Okay, with respect to that we need to add here new body, and with respect to the body we can add this particular pad. With the pad we need to go for the thickness we only add inside or the outside. So whatever the master section is given with respect to that, we can just mention the value whatever is required. Okay, so here you can find the value is something like bigger what we added. So this is look like perfect. 6 mm is the height they're given into the master section. Again, for the thickness you need to check. So for that also you need to check at the root of this particular master section. So you can select this to this, we'll get. So this is we're going to be have 1 mm root thickness. So that we can add, this is the exact root thickness we're going to be get because the draft is given from this point. Okay, so for that reason we're going to be selected this value. So now we can check, we need to add the draft. So draft will be going to be added, draft will be going to be added from here, inner surface as well as outer surface. We need to select the plane you can select something like this, you can check for the preview. So this we not going to be do, so definitely we're giving a draft something like opposite direction. Try to make, we can remove. So here we're going to be have 0.5 degree draft, we can give both side, and now you can check this particular draft are going to be added. And now we need to add this reeve. Okay, so the reeve, for that again we need to check the distance. So we can check the distance. So distance, here we have the intersection point. From that we can check how much is the length. So for intersection you need to select the vertical and horizontal. We'll get this particular point, then again we need to select this edge. So somewhere here we have 1.7. Well, like that is again we can consider as 2, but we can check from the center how much distance we have, 5 mm. So 5 mm each we're going to be add that particular rib. So again we need to go for the sketch to create. So we'll add the sketch, again the same plane we can select. Always we can go for the position sketch, with respect to that we can select the point. And always make sure when we have given the sketch or the master section in one direction, if the part is circular, so that will be always the thing. In opposite direction it will be the same. Okay, if any deviation in opposite direction, so they will give the two plane, whatever that section, they will give the both sections. Okay, so here you can find from this to this, you can add the value. Okay, first of all we need to make this as a symmetry, and then 5 and 5. So this will be the 10 mm we will add as per the master section. And I will check for that to add a rib with the thickness 1 mm thickness. We can go for neutral fiber. Again, downside something like this we can give thickness. Okay, similar way we need to have in opposite direction. So we'll add in sketch opposite line as well. Okay, so there will be always 3 rib or 2 ribs. Okay, so here we are adding a 4. So each direction there will be 1, and the angle between the 2 ribs are nothing but the 90. But there might be case we can have the 120 angle and we have the 3 ribs. Okay, so ribs will be something like this: 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so angle with the ribs are nothing but 120, 120, and 120. Okay, so there are the two types we can add the rib. Either we have this cross one or we have the 3-1 Y shape. Again, you can find something like this. It can come from the sketch. And with respect to this, we're going to be have the two ribs now. I need to add draft. Okay, so what I can do, I can add these two into the insert new. Okay, so they will go insert in separate one, and this we can add again, insert in new. So this will get us a for the Indian trim. So this will be the better condition we require the structure. So now I just want to hide boss and need to keep the read. So that is not possible in opposite case. So you can add over here values 0.5 degree out. 0.5 degree out. We can add all the faces. And again, the dart face you can select from the top or the bottom depending upon the requirement of the root thickness. So you can add the 0.5 draft. Now, if you just check at the bottom, we have given some draft angle. Okay, so that you can check the draft angle with respect to surface to plane. So angle we need to check. So they're given something like 11.13. So that draft we need to add on that particular face. Okay, so we can select draft face. Something like 11. Okay, so pulling direction will be what we have the tooling direction. With respect to that, you can give the draft. Okay, similar to 13 point something we have. So you can create this rib. Now to avoid the sharp corner, we need to add the rib. So it is given over here into the master section. So 0.5, we'll have the fillet. So 0.5 fillet we can add on all the sharp corners, whatever is available. Okay, so this is something like we can add. Now with respect to that, we need to go for creating this assemble. So we'll go for union trim. So whatever you want to keep so that we can select. So here the better option always will be we need to select the remove. Okay, something like this we can select the remove and we'll get that particular boss. So for that reason we're going to be checked with the master section. Again, the bottom portion is not required to create, but for your clarification I will just draw that too to get you the clear idea about what exactly we are drawn with respect to master section. Just what are the thickness we have so that we can add. So we have 3 mm something like. Okay, so similar to this, we're going to be get that, and again we need to if you just check for adding again to the union trim, you can just add that. That is also fine. And now we need to cross check again for that particular section. Okay, so whatever the section is given, the master section is given, that we need to check. So here you can find what are the section we have. So here this we have followed. Okay, so from anything we are getting from the master section, how we can solve, we can check over here. Okay, so if the master section is given, first of all we need to check the values with the master section, what are the information they are given. Again, at the root we need to check again the draft as well as the fillet value. So everything we need to follow in the master section. Okay, so this is something like you can create a boss with respect to given master section. So we have started with the something like this and we are created over here. Okay, so what they're going to be checked, so they will check if you have moved your point. So this part should be get moved. Okay, so there should not be any link with this particular master section. So that is the only thing they're going to be checked after you are given the CAD test. Okay, so here you can add any value. So that should not be make an issue to move your part. Okay, so literally they're going to be checked something like this, your CAD test. If you have added any feature, if you have given submitted your CAD test, they will check similar to this. Okay.